Well, thank you for having me, Justin. I'm excited. So, like Justin said, anytime someone tries to introduce me, there are a lot of alsos involved in the conversation. I tend to get myself into a lot of things, which I think is a characteristic of an entrepreneur in general, so I'm assuming a lot of you guys can probably relate. I actually got my start in business. I'll tell you a little bit about me first, and then we'll go to our topic. At a really young age, when I was just a teenager, so a little over 20 years ago, don't do any math right there, I had an opportunity to help launch a business. And this business was one that scaled just in those first couple of years up to doing $3-4 million a year. The interesting thing about the experience, though, was that they kind of left me alone to just cowboy it. And so they didn't give me a lot of direction. I had access to a consultant if I had a question that was mostly off-site. And they just left me alone to figure things out, which at the time, I didn't know any better than to think that that was how things work. And in retrospect, I'm really, really grateful for. Because as you will come to find in your journey as an entrepreneur, one of the key things that you need to be able to do, can I use French in here? Is that allowed? One of the key things that you need to be able to do is just figure shit out on a regular basis. There's literally nothing that we could do to prepare you for every single thing that you're going to come across. It is important that you guys get a foundation of understanding in a lot of different areas. So studying entrepreneurship and studying technology, business management, all of these things are super important in training your mind to be able to make good decisions. But underneath all of that, a core skill that is important to develop if you want to become an entrepreneur is that ability to just get in there and know that you can go find resources and find ways, and that you can take on challenges and find your way through them. So that was the opportunity that I was presented with at a very young age, and somehow I did figure it out. I'm really not sure. We didn't have the internet back then, so I would do things like drive down to my local tax office and read tax books and all kinds of things like that in order to figure out the things that I needed to figure out to make things happen. These particular business owners were also very afraid of computers, and so they didn't let me use a computer for much of what I did in those first few years. And to be running a multi-million-dollar business on paper was quite an interesting challenge, and it really shaped my mind to understand business kind of from the inside out, and really built my love at a very young age for how all of the different parts of business work together. Fast forward a while, I spent some time in corporate. I built a few different little businesses along the way, and then when I moved over here, I built a couple different businesses that I've been involved in for the past 7 or 8 years. I also have really focused a lot on helping other business owners find their way, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, is bringing people together as a community to support each other, both emotionally through the experience of starting a business, because it's a big task and it's great to have kind of your comrades along the journey with you, but also giving them some knowledge. You guys have a head start with things because you, at this point in your life, are studying some of the things that a lot of people kind of accidentally run out and start a business because they're passionate about doing something and providing a service or something for people. And then they step back and go, oh great, I need to actually figure out how to run this business. So you guys have a leg up on the fact that you are studying this now, and taking the time to get some practical experience or talk to people in the community that have that practical experience is a terrific next step for you to be able to take what you're learning in theory and put it in application. So going from here, how many of you guys have an idea that you're already working on or that you're hoping to work on soon? Okay. Cool. How many of them are technology ideas? Cool. How many of them are non-technology? All right. Okay. So you guys have an interesting thing going here. Do you have 2 ventures, or do you have something that 2 ventures? Okay. Very good. So I really love the TEM program out here in that it does give you a dose of technology, entrepreneurship, and business management. So again, I think that you guys have a really unique opportunity that a lot of people don't get, that dive more specifically into just one area. So from there, how many of you guys have actually had a chance to, whether it's in this forum or in another one, to get to know some people that have launched, operated, and grown a business? How many of you guys have gotten a chance to kind of work with some of them? what are some of the things that stood out to you or that benefited you about getting to know some of these people? I remember who raised your hand, so I'm just going to call on you guys if you don't. All right, so you guys, tell me, what would you say was the benefit to you from spending some time with someone that is already an entrepreneur?
Well, they've been through the process of, taking an idea from the idea stage all the way through making money off of it. So, for us,
for me, it was like just working with someone that's passionate about what they're doing. That was the biggest thing I got out of it. He said, if you're going to do something to make money, just go get a job, in Wall Street or something like that. And if you're going to do it for passion and love what you're doing, you'll make money along the way. But
terrific. Okay, I like that. That's both sides of what you can get from getting out in the community and meeting people. There's the tactical side, which is really helpful because I like to call it kind of being out on the streets when you're out there actually building something. And whenever you're out there doing that, you find as many shortcuts as you can. And those are really valuable things to know. Entrepreneurs also have they're guided a lot by their gut, which comes a lot from their passion. And so between your passion and your gut and then the intelligence in your head is how a lot of things happen. And I think that's what you're saying that you're hearing is someone that is counseling you to stick with a passion, because it is true. If you're in it to make money, you'll give up within the first 6 months because it takes so much effort to lift something off the ground and get it to that point where it is profitable and sustainable. And so it truly is your passion that drives you through and gives you, sometimes people say entrepreneurs need to be really determined. Funny thing is, you can't not be determined once you have a passion and you are excited to see something through. So you don't have to force yourself to be determined. That part is natural. The things that you need to give yourself are these opportunities to support yourself in being able to grow and take forward what you need.
For the room.
Okay, very good. Can you hear me better? Okay, so from here, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Phoenix and how you can get involved, but start with why we would want to get involved. When I say the word networking, what is the first word that comes to your mind? Let's start here.
Me?
Yes.
Getting to know other people.
Okay, getting to know other people.
You.
Mm-hmm. Terrific. How about you, my dear? What comes to your mind when I say the word networking?
Getting to know people who are in the industry that you want to know about.
Okay, getting to know specific people that are important to you. Good, all right. How about you?
there's free food there.
Free food. Hey, he does understand how a lot of this happens. It's true. There's often free food to draw people in. All right, how about you?
Getting yourself out there, getting people to know you.
Getting yourself out there. Very good. Okay, so the one that probably most of you are thinking and not saying is, oh crap, right? People really don't like to do networking. I have probably met maybe 2 people that really would honestly say that they like to do networking. Can anybody relate with kind of, well, I'd rather go hang out with Netflix and chill? Anybody? 1, 2, okay. Either you guys are not honest or you are in the right place in the right job. So I'm okay with either one. So networking is something that is really important because this is where we start building relationships with other people. And relationships, as much as it kind of frustrates me that relationships are so crucial to our success and to our ability to move things forward, I like things where it feels like there's a level playing field, right? Anybody can have access to anything and that it wouldn't be preferential or relationship based. But the flip side of that is that people that get out there and build relationships, the access to do that is available to everyone. So it still is a level playing field, but those that figure out that getting out there and getting to know people and getting to meet people and becoming involved in helping other people, those are the people that are able to accelerate things quite a bit. So there is a level playing field, and relationships are crucial if you want to be able to accelerate your success. I would have thought that those two would cancel each other out, but they don't. So getting out into the community is a way that you can learn a lot more so that when you are ready or when that idea does come to you or when you do join a team, that you have access to a lot more support and a lot more information to be able to make it come true. Or if you are building something, it's the perfect time and the perfect way to get out there and to be able to lift it off the ground much more quickly with a lot less work. So let's talk about some of the things that are happening. Well, actually, networking in general. One more thing about that. So when it comes to networking, what's the first thing that you would say to someone at a networking event? Let's give it a try here.
What do you do?
What do you do? Okay, yeah, absolutely. That's super common. That's a good one. Let's see here. How about you? What do you think? How does it work? Okay, like whatever it is that they do? Okay, sure. All right, and how about you? What do you think?
I would maybe tell them what I have worked on previously or what my skill set is.
Sure. Tell them a little bit about yourself and what your skill set is. Good. Okay, so these are all very good things. When it comes to getting out there and building relationships with people, we're going to take kind of a note from salespeople, okay? So has anyone studied sales at all? Okay, that's okay, no worries. So salespeople are really, really good at getting people to know, like, and trust them. Those are the things that you need in order to be able to have a relationship where people start saying yes to you, right? So in order to build that relationship with someone, one of the key things that you can do that's easy to do, it's comfortable to do, and it works really well, is to, after you get a few little things out of the way, you know, a little bit of get to know you, is to say, is there any way that I can help you? Those are some pretty magic words. Getting out there and getting to know people and looking for ways that you can connect them to someone else that's useful, or that you can give them a little bit of expertise. If you happen to know Ruby on Rails and maybe they have a question in it, great. You are now their new best friend, you know. Giving people a little bit of a dose of help with no strings attached is a really, really magical way to become a part of a community, to contribute, and to be able to win everybody over as your new best friend. All right, so keep that in mind, because when networking, oftentimes it's hard to figure out exactly what to do with this new person that you've just met. And if it stays within the realm of, hi, I'm Christie, I do this, who are you, you do that, cool. So, you know, it just kind of ends there. That ends up only ever being a tertiary relationship. It doesn't have any depth to it, and it doesn't have any emotional connection. So that kind of networking is a little bland, and it's not going to develop your connection to that person. But if you take it to that next level with the simple little task of asking, is there anything I could do to help you, or is there anything you need, I would be happy to see if I know anyone that has access to something that could be useful to you. That's a really powerful tool that you can use to really make your networking very effective. We good on that? Okay, so let's talk about a few of the things happening in Phoenix. For those of you that is anyone currently going to some events out in the community? Okay, yes, we know Justin is. This is how I know Justin so well. Perfect, and how about you? So what kind of events have you come across?
Yeah, a few meetup events through meetup.com.
Okay.
I just registered for Startup Grind, the next one's Mario Martinez.
Oh, good,
So,
yeah.
Just in the beginning processes of getting out there, but is that you just have to, I mean, you're right, in order to meet people and get to know people in the community, you gotta get out there. I'm just
Good.
beginning to do that.
Has anyone else used meetup.com for other purposes, getting out? Wow, all right, so this is a tool you guys need to check out. I mean, no matter what your hobby is, if it's like Star Wars or teddy bears or whatever, there is a meetup for you. And it is a great way to get out there and meet people. Similarly with entrepreneurship, that's where you can find a lot of the things that are happening that are really grassroots efforts. So that's terrific. Within the community, if you were to ask anyone that is involved in the startup or technology startup community right now in Phoenix, if you were to ask any of them, even people that have been involved in this community over the past 15, 20 years, what they think of what's happening right now, they would tell you that it's magical. I kid you not. There's something really strange going down in Phoenix right now, and you guys are perfectly positioned to take advantage of it. So right now we have out there in the community a really amazing group of people that are completely committed to doing everything that we can to support each other's growth and to celebrate each other's successes and to help each other move forward. There's kind of this really altruistic, generous vibe out there, and there are a lot of people that have banded together and have come out of the corners and out of wherever they were in their garage working on their startup to really support each other. And the two of you called out both sides of it, tactically or through relationships or things that people need, but also emotionally through the inspiration, the support, the emotional guidance, or just someone to vent to sometimes. So both halves of that kind of support are available to us in the community in a way that has never been there before. And so if you are working on a venture, or if you want to participate in working on a venture and you just want to get your skills up but don't have the idea yet, there are a lot of opportunities out there for you. You guys have a unique opportunity that I think, again, people would say hasn't been there before, to get out and get involved and be able to really accelerate your opportunities in a really cool way. So the first thing that I want to talk about that's happening right now is something called Yes PHX. Anyone heard of it? Okay, our friend in the purple shirt is on it. He's on fire back there. Good. So Yes PHX, there's a website, YESPHX, and it's basically a hashtag is all that it is. It was started about 1.5 years ago by a little handful of people that saw what was happening in the community and saw that there were a lot of pockets of things happening and wanted to bring all of the people together and create one unified community throughout this big metropolitan area called Phoenix. So Yes PHX is just a banner by the people for the people. Sounds kind of corny, but it's actually super awesome. So if you were to go on any social media channel and search Yes PHX, you would start seeing people that are talking about the things that they're building or asking questions or looking for help with different things. It's also a hashtag that you can use to say, hey, I am working on my startup and I have a question about this, or I need to try and get access into this company, or I need, I have this available to contribute. Does anybody need someone? You can use that hashtag to reach out to hundreds of people that are very committed to entrepreneurship here in the Valley. So what's the hashtag again? Good, very good. So check out that website and start following it on social media. You can actually connect with us on Twitter there. You can connect with us on Facebook. In addition to that, one of the key things that just launched this past year as well is called Startup Week. Anyone heard of that? Okay, so Startup Week is literally what it sounds like. It's a week of everything startup. And it is all free. And throughout Monday through Friday, this is the last week in February, coming up in 2016, you can attend sessions all day long, all night long, hearing from some of the top influencers and top creators in our community. You can go by subject matter of whatever's important to you. You can go by location. It moves each day, Monday through Friday, to different locations around the city so that it's easy to access for everybody. And at Startup Week, we actually, this past year, doing it the first time, had about 2,000 or 3,000 people show up, which is really cool. Who would have thought there were 2,000 or 3,000 people out there that were butting into, looking to start something and looking for support and looking for information of how to do it. In addition to that, this year we're going for, I don't even know what they said. I think they're going for like 5,000 or 10,000 is what they're hoping. So I think every one of you need to show up so that we can hit that number. Capiche? We good? You got that? So Startup Week is a really cool opportunity to get out there and get connected to people and get an easy access to some really high-level, terrific information of how to do what you want to do in this community. Last year, after Startup Week, people made a lot of friends, built a lot of relationships, and so an event series came out of that is just a simple happy hour that happens once a month. It's called the Yes PHX Happy Hour, and I think it's the second Wednesday of every month. And again, they move it around. It's kind of cool because it's a really underground effort. Okay, who has been to a networking event before? Okay, just a few of you guys. So sometimes networking events have this weird vibe to them. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? They're kind of like everybody's there to just pass a business card and see if you're useful to me and then just go on to the next person. Like, it's just kind of too forced and too kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't have a lot of people to it. It's just more about the business side of it. The cool thing about Yes PHX stuff is that, again, it's an underground movement by the people for the people, and so it's really true. There's not a lot of people there that are just there to simply try and sell you something, and if they can't get it out of you, then they're just going to disappear real quick. So these events actually have 200 to 300 people that show up, which is why we have to choose some large venues and whatnot, but that's a place that you can go and you can get involved and get introduced to. I'm always there, so come find me if you show up, and I'll introduce you to any kind of people in our community that would be interesting to you or useful for a project you're working on, or just even help you think about your idea. So the SPHX happy hours are a great place to show up, and those are just obviously free. You just show up where everybody is. You can buy yourself a drink if you want, or just hang out and talk if you don't. In addition, Startup Grind, obviously I'm a little extra passionate about this one. So Startup Grind is a global event series. It was started back I think about 4 or 5 years ago in Silicon Valley by a man named Derek Anderson that came to visit us last month. And he was literally working on his startup and was maybe 6-8 months in, maybe 12 months, just really kind of, past that really exciting, we're going to conquer this phase, and into that, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end phase, right? So he was looking to inspire his team and get them like fired up again, and himself. And so he just called up one of his buddies that had built a successful company and said, hey, would you just come hang out with us and talk to us? You don't have to bring a presentation. You don't have to do anything. Just come and hang out and talk to us. Tell us some stories about how you overcame some of the challenges that we are now experiencing, and we'll buy you pizza. So they did that. The next month, he was in a co-working space. The next month, he invited some of the other people around and said, hey, I'm doing this thing. You guys are welcome to come. I have pizza for everybody. They did that. 6 months in, there were 200 people showing up every time he would do this. And he had this moment where he thought, this is actually going way better than my startup is going. Aha, right? So he did the classic pivot, I guess you could say, and decided to make Startup Grind what he was going to focus on, because he could see what was happening and how it was changing the lives of all these entrepreneurs and inspiring them to go back at it and helping them build connections to people that were useful and that could help them overcome some of the things that they were stuck on. So he created Startup Grind and created a chapter structure, and it started expanding a little bit throughout California. Once he had a couple of years behind him and some good experience, one of his mentors suggested that he try and partner with some different people to really take it to the next level. So he went and ferreted his way into the people at Google for Entrepreneurs. And now Startup Grind is powered by Google for Entrepreneurs. It's one of only 2 event series in the world that they are connected with, which is pretty cool, right? And again, nobody told him how to do that. He just one day said, I'm going to do it. And he just kept walking forward, taking steps and asking questions until he got there. So Startup Grind, since then, I launched Phoenix for them back about 1.5 years ago. And at that point in time, we were in 75 cities around the world. Now we're in 175 cities around the world. And each city, each month, hosts a live event. And what we do is, again, the mission is to inspire, educate, and connect entrepreneurs. So that's literally what we are trying to do. The event is 3 hours. The first hour, we serve dinner. My food friend, yes, this is good. So we serve dinner so that it's kind of an easy evening for you. You can come after your busy day and get that taken care of. That first hour is also some social time. You could call it networking, but I refrain from doing so on a regular basis. And I do secret little things like planting people in the crowd to make sure that people are having this opportunity to connect to each other and that they are learning our style of building relationships with people. Because at the end of the day, it's people that are on the other side of everything that you do, even in business. Then the second hour is a live interview. It's a fireside chat, as Justin said, where I'm going to sit down with whoever I've chosen for that month as one of our local top entrepreneurs and have them tell their story. But they're going to tell us kind of the real version of it, the backstory. Not the version that was in Forbes magazine, but the version where their partner sued them and where all kinds of crazy things happen. And then they're going to tell us how they overcame those challenges and kept moving forward. I'm so impressed by a lot of these people that I've interviewed over the past 1.5 years. Back in March, I interviewed the founder of Taser. You know, Taser, the little like beep beep, I got you type things. So he was really open, and it's unusual for the personality of someone that launches businesses to be the same personality of someone that operates and grows businesses. There are kind of business operators, growers, and there are business launchers. Sometimes people can do both, which is cool. But oftentimes you find yourself kind of naturally drifting toward one or the other because they do require a lot of different skills between the two of them. And this guy was not only one of the co-founders of Taser 21 years ago, but he's still the CEO today. So that was kind of an unusual experience. And he talked a lot about how he had to change who he is and how he manages and the way that he looks at his company. He really literally had to shift himself so many times as he grew that company in order to still be able to be the best person to be leading that company. Each of these interviews that I do is recorded. We put them up on our startupgrind.com YouTube. And around the world, you can actually see the interviews that are coming through from everywhere. So within our podcast or our videos, you can see interviews that we've done with the founder of Pinterest, the founder of Indiegogo, the founder of Instagram, the founder of Twitter, the founder of Capital One Bank. Like, all of these people are coming forward and telling their story about how they actually built these companies. It's really fascinating stuff to hear. So, you know, when you're bored, which I don't know if that happens a lot for you guys or not, but check out the videos available on Startup Grind, because that's where you can literally get the backstory from a lot of the brands that you know and love, as well as dozens and hundreds or thousands of others. So, and then the last portion of the evening, we give away prizes, fun stuff like that to reward our hardworking entrepreneurs in the community. And then we have a little more social time. So, and at that last portion is often where you get a chance to meet the speaker, which is a really invaluable experience in and of itself, because a lot of the people that I bring in as speakers are some pretty cool rock stars here in town. The one that I'm interviewing this week, or next week on Tuesday night, is Mario Martinez. And this guy is incredible. He's actually, by my evaluation anyhow, one of our top angel investors for technology companies here in town right now. He is incredibly generous. He exited his tech company that he had bootstrapped and built. He exited it a couple years ago, and after taking time to help transition it to the new company and taking a little time off to play, he got really active about 1.5 years ago, and just literally, this guy could be on a beach somewhere all day, every day, if he wanted to. But instead of doing that, he's working a ton, figuring out ways that he can give back, that he can mentor, that he can help other people grow, where he can invest. There's a new foundation called Startup AZ, startupaz.org, and he just contributed $100,000 to it as the seed fund for this organization that's going to help early stage startups be able to get the tools and the access they need to be able to grow here in Arizona. I mean, this guy is incredible with what he's doing to really help other people and pay it forward. So he's the guy that I'm interviewing this coming Tuesday. And as an aside, for students, we have a ticket fee with the dinner, but for students, there's a promo code that you can use to get in for 75% off. So instead of being $15, your ticket's like $4 or something like that. So I'll tell you that promo code, all right? You can write it down if you want, or you can ask Justin or Professor Philly or whoever if you forget it. It's SG, like as in Startup Grind, PHX, like as in Phoenix, and then the word student. So SGPHX student will always get you 75% off to that event. So anytime that you want to come, feel free. And again, as you'll find me there every time. And if there's anything that you're working on, anything that you need help with, anything you need support with, any kind of a person that you'd like to ask a question to for market research or for advisement or guidance or anything like that, just come and find me, and I will do my best to connect you to anyone that would be useful. So I think that's a little bit of the hot points, I would say. That Yes PHX Happy Hour you can get involved in on Facebook. That's where we post that underground event. It's not in all of the published places. We kind of keep it hidden. And then, like I said, Startup Grind is at startupgrind.com. Those are a couple of the main places that you can get involved. Definitely check out Phoenix Startup Week. That's something that comes up in February, and it's a great place to get a lot of information and a lot of connections. And then from there, you'll see that, I got one more for you. Who do I have that's a software engineer? All right, well, my friend, this one is for you. So there is a monthly event series that you can access through Meetup, and it's called Hacker's Nest. Have you heard of that one? So it's a really cool place where a bunch of people that love code show up and talk to each other. It's really fascinating. So it's a really cool event for them to be able to have access to that. And oftentimes there's a lot of networking that happens there for jobs, but there's also just a lot of support. They love helping each other overcome challenges, because there's nothing like getting stuck on something technical and then figuring it out and putting on your Superman cape and knowing that you did it, right? So, or Superwoman. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to give you guys a chance to ask any questions that you have. Also, Justin, if you have anything that I've missed, please feel free to let me know that you wanted me to cover.
Well, I just wanted to, because I've been sending out a video with Dan Tyre, and we have an event this Friday from 5 to 9
Yes.
at Startup Village, our own networking event that we're going to try to put on once a month. That's going to be our own networking event. I've got a few professionals, some of the people that Christie's put me in contact with, and we'll have that. But going forward, I'd like to have it be more of a balanced thing. Anybody who's really interested in getting involved, and I wanted to hear your, maybe have you share some
Yeah.
brings from the sales training he's going to bring.
Absolutely. So as he was saying, this Friday, he has a networking event, 5 to 9, I think you said?
5 to 9 p.m.
And where is it here?
It's in the Startup Village, the closest house
Startup
to the
Village.
water tower.
Okay, so it's at Startup Village. So his guest that's coming is Dan Tyre. And Dan, I've had the pleasure of interviewing on a couple different occasions. Has anyone ever heard of HubSpot? My purple shirt friend, you are on fire. I like it. Okay, so how about content marketing? Have we heard of content marketing? Inbound? All right, guys, let's talk about this for a second. If you have ambitions to build and grow any kind of an entrepreneurial endeavor, you need to know a little bit about content marketing, okay? So we're gonna detour for like 3 minutes here, maybe 2. I'll keep it brief. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the founding story of HubSpot so that you can understand why this is important. There were a couple of guys, I believe they were at MIT. Don't quote me on these actual facts, but the gist of it, okay? There were a couple of guys, and one of them had a job in marketing, and he was doing all of the things that marketers do. They had an amazing brand put together for this company. They were going to trade shows. They were doing all of the different things that you would traditionally do to try and draw people in and get leads that your salespeople can then convert so that you can make money so that you can grow and sustain your business. So they were doing all of these things, and then off to the other side, the other buddy was busy with his schoolwork, and he had just started this blog that he was just putting out useful information, his thoughts about different things. Fast forward about 6 months, and the marketing guy in his role was just pulling his hair out, trying to figure out how to get these people, how to get their attention, you know, through trying to put ads out there, trying to find the right channels, trying to get people to respond and get connected to this company. While his buddy, who had started this random blog with his thoughts, had, I don't know how many, like a couple 100,000 followers or some crazy number, maybe it was a couple thousand, but he had people literally coming to him, attaching themselves to him and waiting on his every word. So the two of them sat back one night and they were like, what is up here? Seems like times have changed. Something is going on. If we want to connect to people and if we want to provide them with something or get their attention in this busy world where people can fast forward through commercials and where marketing is different than it ever has been, apparently providing them some kind of useful information is a really good tactic to do that. So they started HubSpot, which is a company that provides a software solution that enables businesses to basically do just that. If you've ever gone to a website and it said, give us your email address and download this free PDF, it's probably a HubSpot website. So they literally kind of proselyte, I guess you could say, this concept of content marketing or inbound marketing, where you're going to provide very useful, very applicable, very helpful information for free to people in order to get their information and get their attention and build a relationship with them and ultimately be able to, again, have them trust and like and know you so that you can have that business relationship with them. So that is, in today's world, a very, very effective part of marketing. And so Dan Tyre came across these two guys. He's actually employee number 6 of HubSpot, which is a huge company these days in Boston. And he's super cool. He's gray hair, but like sassy and young as can be. Like, a tip for you if you meet him on Friday, he does not do handshakes. He only does fist bumps. All right, so go up to him and try and fist bump him before he starts in, and you will impress him, I'm sure. So Dan is just a really terrific guy, and he loves millennials. He loves the young generation. He has worked with them so much at HubSpot, and he just thinks the world of you guys and your ability and what you can contribute and what you have available to take the world forward in this next generation. So he has all kinds of, he's their sales director, so he basically built the sales team that helped HubSpot go and be what it is today. And just a super personable, super likable, super intelligent guy. He's also a great mentor. He's an investor and advisor to a lot of our different startups in town, but he's one of the few people that has the time and desire and ability to really mentor people. He has a legit program. Like, if you try and get him to mentor you, you're going to get a PDF with instructions and details and things you have to follow through on, but he will be there for you and he will help you in any way that he can take your career or your venture to the next level. So really cool guy. Absolutely take the time to go and meet him and get to know whatever it is that Justin's up to over there, because Justin's doing good things these days, guys, so follow that dude wherever he goes, okay? So, anything else?
No, that's awesome. I'm really hoping that I see greatness here at the Poly campus, just how small
small it is, tight knit it is. We've got all the degrees that we need to have balanced teams out here.
It's true.
The Startup Village is really a unique opportunity to this campus, and I think a cool networking event here once a week, or once a month can really
Yeah.
add to that. And
Absolutely.
I'm hoping to have local startups and local professionals be in on the mix as well. So it's not just us students, that will also be able to network with
Yeah.
professionals on our
Perfect. So that reminds me, I do have a new job in the W.P. Carey School over there, which I should remember for a moment here. So there are a couple of, it's really cool actually. W.P. Carey and the Fulton School of Engineering are really partnering up in a lot of different ways, which is terrific, because anytime two people that are really passionate about the same thing partner up, two or more, it gets really powerful really fast. And so a couple of the things I want to make sure that you're aware of is we have, has anyone heard of the Igniter Challenge or the PACUS Challenge? Okay, so the Igniter Challenge is for-profit ventures. It's something that you literally submit a 5-minute video to apply, and I think the application deadline is October 20th. So if you have an idea and it's something that's scalable and commercial, and you want to get in front of some really, really active startup investors, venture guys, you can submit your information to the Igniter Challenge. You can find that info in the Center for Entrepreneurship website on the W.P. Carey website. In addition, there is a specific challenge, has the same deadline. You can actually even apply for both of them at the same time with just a checkbox if your video is applicable for both challenges. And this one is called the PACUS Social Entrepreneurship Challenge. I put little flyers back there. So this one is for social entrepreneurs, people looking to make a change. The Igniter Challenge gives away, I think, $55,000 to the winner and a lot of support from these venture capitalists that have some pretty freaking amazing relationships. That one is for, like I said, really scalable ventures. They literally are going to want to invest in your company and have one person on the team really see it through to really make something happen. The PACUS one is, the winner of this one will receive $27,500 and a lot of support from more of the social venture perspective. And so it can be for-profit or it can be nonprofit, which is kind of cool. It doesn't have to be a nonprofit. If you have a for-profit venture but it is socially minded, then you can apply to this one. It doesn't have to be something huge and ginormous. It can literally be that you have a desire to go and help a certain disadvantaged part of Phoenix have something awesome happen in it. Like, it can be very specific, very local. It doesn't have to be some giant, huge ordeal. They literally are just trying to put money in the hands of people that are going to make a difference. And it can be as simple as you want it to be. The thing that you need to know, like I said, the October 20th is the application deadline. All it requires is a 5-minute video. Don't go over 5 minutes or they won't watch it. And the video itself doesn't have to be something too fancy. They're not judging you by your video skills. The only thing you have to make sure of with that video is that you speak clearly and loudly. Because if you're going to place your iPhone across the room and then come over here and do a little song and dance and they can't hear you, it just doesn't work out. So if you are holding your phone right here talking into it and that's your 5-minute video, great, perfect. And if you go to that website, which this one is wpcarey.asu.edu/PACUS, P-A-K-I-S, then there are about 10 questions that they're going to ask you to address in your video. So there's even guidance around what to put in the video. So if you are at all interested, this only comes around once a year, so get involved now. And that is a little bit about that. The other thing that we are partnering on specifically is a new program called the EIR program, Entrepreneur in Residence. So over in the W.P. Carey School, well, there are several places throughout ASU where you have access to mentors, people that are already signed up to donate their time to help you in whatever way you need help. One of them is in the W.P. Carey Center. We have a physical space there, but we are always also happy to Skype. And each member of our faculty has office hours, as well as we have expert guests every week that are available to talk to you, and they kind of identify different markets or different categories that they are specialists in. So you have access to these expert guests anytime that you want. You can literally go online and book it. But in addition to that, we have the Entrepreneur in Residence program. And what that one is that it's for those people that are really top performers, that are really serious and focused on their venture. And this is a legit mentor that is going to be right there providing you Really, really terrific support. It's not kind of a casual mentorship relationship. This is very focused, deliberate. And so that one requires a little bit of screening where you have to know someone that kind of gives you authorization or approval, like Professor Philly or one of the staff at one of the entrepreneurship centers. But that is available to you. And so you guys have a world of resources right here in your hands. And I can tell you from being out there in the world, on the street, that typically when you try and start something, it is all up to you. I mean, if you ferret out some good mentors or some good friends, that's terrific. But there's not money out there that's just going to be, here, try this, start this. I mean, very limited. In a couple of very specific situations, you can get some access to money to launch something. But while you're here at ASU and while you have access to all of these different resources and challenges, the Changemaker challenges, the WP Carry challenges, really get involved and see what you can do to test some things out, to try some things out. Get your first business under your belt. Get that experience. I don't care if you start a dog walking business. Like, just get out there and try building something, figuring out who you're supposed to market to, figuring out how you're going to operate it, figuring out how you're going to position it, figuring out, you know, what's going to happen, how you're going to manage it. Like, get some simple experience under your belt so that you have that first one done. It doesn't have to be something huge and exciting and impressive, but get that practical application so that then as you continue to learn, all of this information sinks in just a little bit deeper and you're that much more prepared to do the next thing that'll be even bigger. I think that's it today, you guys. Thanks for having me. All right, so like I said, the PACUS things are back there. I also, Christie.Kerner@asu.edu. I have my cards if you need one. Feel free to stop by and look forward to seeing some of you around.